Welcome to the Connectable podcast.
The Connectable podcast starts in 3, 2, 1.
All right, here we go. We have another. We seem to attract a lot. It seems like we attract bodybuilders and videographers on the show. I don't know what it is. Like when I invite people to be on the show, they just somehow have a connection to that world. So today we don't have a bodybuilder unless that's something you do that I'm not aware of. But I know this guy as a videographer, a business owner. He's the owner of Black Tape Company and also Iron Bunny Supply. Vir Moranta. What's going on, man?
What's up, man? Nice to finally meet you and finally get to join your podcast.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, you go ahead, man. Like, I don't know what.
Yeah, no. We'll get this thing started, man. Well, like I said, let me ask you this. Do you do bodybuilding? Because like I said, I'm not joking. First, we've had like 4 or 5 bodybuilders. We've had a bunch of videographers. And do you bodybuild too?
You know what's funny? I don't do bodybuilding, but my career actually started in MMA. I started photography like 10 years ago.
Okay.
And I used to take photos of like rock bands and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
And I got hired from Pepsi and I stopped doing photography for probably like about 5 years. And then I'm like, you know what? I started Iron Bunny, and Iron Bunny actually revolves around fitness. So that's kind of where I started doing a lot of MMA, a lot of bodybuilding, because I know a lot of people, because I used to go to the gym a lot. I mean, I still go to the gym, but not as much as I used to. So yeah, so I started meeting like a lot of people that are into fitness, not bodybuilders yet. And then my brother Mark actually started going to gym with me, and he's a bodybuilder. And when he started doing bodybuilding, he met a guy named Tony Huge, which is a very huge, like, you know, bodybuilding icon right now, or, you know. And I started Iron Bunny, and I started Iron Bunny with fitness, and then I got connected to like the MMA world. And then Mike, I started my photography again because, all right, I need to take some photos, right? Back in the day, I don't have like that much of like, I don't make that much to like hire photographers.
Okay.
I'm like, I know how to take photos, so like might as well do it, right? I still have my camera. So 5-6 years later, I started taking photos for Iron Bunny. I started meeting like fitness people, and then I started like going to MMA shows, take photos there. And that's where I got connected to the Team Alpha Male, which is Uriah Favor's gym.
Mm-hmm.
I got basically invited to come and, you know, start taking photos at the gym. So that's where I kind of like kick off, like just taking photos. And then my brother met this guy, Tony Huge, and then my brother connected us, and he needed a videographer, and because he started his supplement company back then. And that's where I started like doing a lot of videos, because like I don't know anything about videos. This was like probably like 2015.
Yeah. And
I'm like, you know, I'm gonna start dabbling into it, because like, you know, I want to try to like, you know, learn it, not to become a career, but just to basically like do it for my Iron Bunny, you know. And ever since then, I started working with this guy, Tony Huge, very big in the fitness industry, especially bodybuilding right now. Very controversial as well. But anyway, that's where I started like meeting a lot of bodybuilders, following him around, basically created a platform for him, for his social media, to become this like massive bodybuilding icon, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so basically that's where I started. I, you know, travel with him, meet all this like popular like fitness people, like bodybuilders, and like that's where I basically did all my videos. And it's like crazy, because like back in the day, you know, I was just like very like quiet. I don't do anything about social media. I just like create content for him, because like that's basically my job. And I didn't realize like the people that I was connecting, like I go to Vegas, I go to LA, I go to Miami, New York, Texas, like my like everywhere in the US, like filming bodybuilding shows, bodybuilders, and then like meeting these people, right? And yeah, that's kind of like where I started, like pretty much bodybuilding.
That's so funny. See, I just made that joke, and you really did have connections to the bodybuilding
Yeah.
world. See, you have your foot in both worlds. So our streak continues. We continue to book bodybuilders and photographers. So I don't know what it is about this show, man. It's just we have some kind of connection to them. But no, that's awesome. It's really interesting that you kind of just got, you kind of just like, I don't want to say fell into it, because obviously you're super talented, but like you weren't expecting to go down that road of videography. And I feel like it's weird. I've known some people throughout my life that are really talented videographers and editors. And I feel like a lot of them have that similar thing where they're like, hey, I learned how to do video because I had to, they needed someone to do it. Right. And so like, well, I guess I'll do the video thing. And then pretty soon they realized that they were really good at it and had an eye for it. And then it turned into a career. Do you feel like that's how it happens for a lot of people? Like, I just feel like that's such a common thing for people who get in the video world. It's like they kind of stumble into it.
I think, to be honest with you, I can't speak for everyone. For me, it's more of like I had to do it because I needed that skill set.
Yeah.
To help basically my Iron Bunny was just like my passion project, right?
Right.
It kind of like fell into where I didn't really like think of it as a career. It's just like I need to learn it so I can use it for my business or my brand. And out of nowhere, it just like, it started becoming like a job. It started becoming like the thing that start paying for my living. And then like I get to travel, and then I get to like meet all these cool stuff, like cool people. I'm like, man, like this is crazy. I think like I fell into it, but like for me, it wasn't really for a career. It's just more of like, I just need that skill set. And like what I said, I can't speak for everyone. For me, it's like, I also needed, as like years, like, months, years go by, I kind of like, man, like I need to like, I didn't even like thought of it like, oh, I need to turn this into a career, right?
Mm-hmm.
When I came back here, I started working, basically started taking more photos at the old Uri Favors gym. And I have my very first client, which is the tattoo shop next door to that gym. And he's the very first guy. It's called Iron Monkey Tattoo. He's the very first guy who paid me money to like basically create like a highlight video, right?
Yeah.
And like just a quick like 1 minute video. Before I was just editing video, like more informational video, like just basically I'm filming Tony talk about something, cut that out, and like turn that into like a video. But this one is specifically that I got paid for a highlight video. And I'm like, wait, like I got paid to do this video. And then like, man, this is so easy. And then he was like, yeah, I'll pay you more. I'll pay you if you want to keep doing this. I'm like, oh yeah, cool. And then it kind of like, that's kind of like where I started like really learning how to create like a highlight video. And like I still have all my videos. It looks like I don't know, it's very like cheesy videos, but I started from there. And then I don't know, it's just like, I was like, I want to do it for other people. And then like I'm like, actually I'm getting a hang of it. I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm not like talented. It's just more of like I acquired a skill set by doing it consistently. And I wouldn't say I have an eye for it, but like all the stuff, like I don't think I have that. It's just more of like I understood the concept as a viewer, like what people want to see. It's not more of like me, oh, that's a cool shot. It's like, no, like I always, when I edit video, it's always from the viewer's perspective, not the creative perspective. And that's kind of like how I like really like start doing all this stuff. Like not, I wouldn't say it's a talent. I was just like, it's just like acquired skill set.
Got it. Hey man, you could have fooled me. I'm gonna call it a talent. That's just my perspective, because like I said, we've been following you for a little while. Usually we start off the show by telling people how we're connected to our guests. I kind of just jumped into it, but I did a podcast with Kim Ruby, and then I also met Jace Angelo that night, and then I started following them, and I realized I started following you because of, you know, you being in some of their videos and some of their different things. And it's like, oh man, this guy is super talented. So we've actually been, even though this is our first time meeting and first time talking, I've actually been following you for a little while and following your work. So that's really interesting. Like it just sounds like you have kind of just like you have this mentality, this grind mentality, this hustle mentality, like whatever it takes to succeed, whatever it takes to get you from point A to point B for your business or for whatever project you're doing, you'll do it. And that's how you came into the video thing, which I think is pretty cool. And I'm glad you said what you did about, because I have a question for you here. And this is a perfect segue because you mentioned you're not looking at it from the creator's eye. You're looking at it from the person who's receiving the content. You're looking at it from the opposite side of the camera, which I think is really cool. And one of the things that I've noticed about you and following you is that you seem so well connected to Sacramento. Like I feel like you pop up in places where, like in other parts of Instagram that aren't even on your feed. I'm like, oh, there's Vir again. Oh, there's Vir again. Like I said, a couple of guests of ours on this show mentioned your name. They said, hey, we have a lot of respect for what he does. And so you seem really well connected to the city. And I feel like you're really involved in different elements in different areas of the city. So that's just a really long way of saying this or asking this. Like, how important is it for you when you're creating a video or when you're creating content that is for a organization or a brand here in Sacramento? How important is it for you to understand the heart of the city when you're creating?
I think that's one of those things that's very important as far as like a viewer's perspective.
Yeah.
Because as a creative, like I would say, like as a creative, like, you know, I've experienced this and also I've seen this with other creatives. They get so attached to this like creative, like, you know, like just like tunnel to where like I'm gonna make this so dope to where like, you know, people will say it's dope. Like for me, I don't, when I put out a video, I want to put out a video precisely to attract people that wants to watch it, not because it's cool. It's because it's something like they feel about the videos, right? Because like a lot of creatives, like they always, you know, they forgot the heart, like what you said, the heart of like, you know, Sacramento. They forgot like the people that are watching it are not creative, right? It's the people that want to see what's like, let's say if I'm gonna create a video about Sacramento, you need to like put out the key points, which is the cool spots in Sacramento, whether it's a restaurant or like a landmark, like all that kind of stuff. You don't need to add so much like creative to it. It's just really like simple. Like this is the landmark. I want to pan, cut to the next landmark. I want to pan. It's simple. And from a viewer's perspective, like you understand that and you feel like you're there, right? Watching it, right? For creatives, I would say like I used to be like this. It's like you have all this like transitions. Like for me, I feel like if you are not creative, you get lost to that. If you're watching a video, oh man, that's cool, like transition. You don't see like, man, that's a cool spot. So like I always see like the value of what people are watching based on like what you're trying to like as a creative, what you're trying to put out versus like as a creative, what you're trying to show your skills. Like, you know, like your skill as far as like editing. Like for me, I realized that back in the day, like, man, like the people that are watching my videos, they like it because one, they get to learn something and they get to see it from my point of view, right? And not because I do it with all this cool transition. But you know, there's like I always like think of it like if I create a video and I put all this like cool stuff with it, like I would say transitions, like do a hyperlapse and all that kind of stuff, the people that I'm attracting to that is the other creatives, which is like I don't want to attract the creatives. I want to attract the people that want to, like, let's say if you want to come visit this landmark or this restaurant or this spot in Sacramento, like that's very simple. Like that's all you need to show. And that's where I basically like, that's how I would put everything, like as far as like creating content.
That's so interesting. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, it makes a lot of sense. I think those moments when as a creative you want to flex a little bit and show off your skills, that's such a good point. Like no one's going to care. Like the customer is not going to care, right? They're not going to say, oh man, I went to this restaurant. Well, like, I know you do a lot of work with Bad Bakers. You, I went to Bad Bakers because Vir put out such a dope video, and like you said, the transitions, the effects, it was amazing. That's the only reason I'm coming here for donuts. Like, no, the reason they came there for donuts is because you did such a good job of telling the story of the restaurant or of the store and keeping it simple and focusing on the main thing, which is the product that you're shooting. So that's interesting. No, I imagine that's a difficult thing. Well, I imagine it's a something that young creatives fall into quite a bit, right? Like I'm sure that their thought is, okay, if I want to compete with all of these other creative people around me, I've got to put all of this energy into, like all the sauce that's on top of the product. But for what you're saying, it's not the case at all. But do you feel like that's something that younger people who are just starting out kind of get into?
I would say yes, because like I was telling you right now, before when I started doing videos, I wasn't looking at YouTube. Like I don't know anybody that is dope at creating videos. Now it's just more like, I get to see, oh man, that guy's cool, that like his stuff is cool. But at the same time, like, I'm just watching it because like like everywhere, like if you go to YouTube, you get to learn something new, right?
Mm-hmm.
And for me, I want to like, I want to learn that transition. Like, how do I do that? And you go to YouTube. A lot of creatives, especially the younger ones, like they get, I'm 100% sure they get lost on like all this cool stuff that like experienced creatives are doing. In a marketing standpoint, I understand what they're doing because they are trying to attract new creatives. Mm-hmm. So for you to attract them is to make really dope videos. And when you have dope videos, those new creatives who watch it, like, man, I want to be that guy. Mm-hmm. And for me, that was never been the case. It was just like, I need to put out content that makes sense for the people to watch. Mm-hmm. Whether, like what I said earlier, whether they learn something from the facility or from the business, for the establishment, all that kind of stuff. Like that's just it. That's just how I see it. It's like people need to learn something, especially in this day and age where like, we get lost in like, the sauce, like doing all this cool stuff. The simplicity is going away, which is like, that's like the basic matters. That's the only thing that matters when you are trying to attract customers or mm-hmm. people that don't know anything about videos. And like what I said earlier, I don't attract any creatives. I attract like, regular people that want to learn something about this business or this company or this, establishment. So I feel like a lot of creatives really get drawn to this like cool stuff, which is like, if they ask me, I would say, man, like just be simple. Simplicity wins all day. Mm-hmm. And you can, for me, when I do, like, if I create a video, I can edit a video in 15 minutes, like, or 10 minutes. Like, I can make that video that fast versus like someone that's creating all this for like few hours or 5 hours, right? I can probably make like 5 videos in like 2 hours. Mm-hmm. And that's how I always see, like, if I can put up more videos that's simple, but also people get to understand, I think like I'll be more far as far as like, who's doing what. Because like also too, I think for other creatives, they always think like this viral thing, to where like, oh, if I'm gonna create this dope video, I'm gonna get so much views and I'm gonna go viral. Like, actually that's not the case. I know a lot of people like doing all this cool shit. Like they basically spend months of creating certain things and like still don't get the views or the likes that they're trying to get or engagement,
Right. That's such a bizarre thing about, social media, YouTube. Like you will see a video, like if you're looking from a critical eye, right? You're looking at, how they created it. You're looking at how, it's shot and all that stuff. A lot of the stuff that's gone viral or goes viral doesn't look that great, compared to something that you could do or some of these other videographers can do. But like you said, it's not even really about that. It's just about whatever moment they captured, it just hit with the audience that they were trying to reach. So it is a really bizarre thing. Now, do you so I see you kind of doing all kinds of things. Like I see you're at Title Boxing quite a bit, you know, hitting the bags and stuff like that. Like what kind of stuff do you do to stay creative? Because I know I think with any creative, there's going to be certain points where they hit a wall and they might be working on a project and they feel like they're just stuck on a certain element of it, or they're you know, set out to be creative that day and then they're just kind of sitting there like I feel like I've got nothing. You know, I don't know if boxing is one of those outlets for you, but what kind of stuff do you do to kind of overcome creative block and then just maintain that creative mindset?
And that's like as far as like now and
Yeah.
where I'm at right now with like what I do, I try to keep everything just very level. Like I don't think too much of creating content like creatively. I just want to put out something that people can watch and like I always say like learn, right? Or if I'm gonna go to this place that's interesting, I make videos about that. Like I don't really put out too much effort as far as like, oh, I want to stay creative. It's just like I just want to start out instead of like be creative, I just want to create more versus being creative. Like being creative, like I feel like you have to like do a lot of work prior to like creating stuff. For me, if like let's say if I go to this restaurant, I could create a bunch of videos from there. And I don't need to be like creative. It's just more of like I would say an experience, right? If I go there, I already know 10 like angles that I will take or I will get to create like this specific video. So I kind of like keep it that way. But back in the day before, I would say, man, like it's just tough because like I never really have like, I mean, the only way for me to like, if I would say when I get burnt out, it's just like from traveling and for creating too much content. Like, man, I'm like so tired. I'm gonna just gonna chill.
Yeah.
It's like I try to keep everything level because like, you know, I don't want to like think too much about creating stuff and also I don't want to like not do anything, you know. So
Sure.
and I also figured out like if I want to create, like if I want to be like what I want to do is I want to put out content that just makes sense for people to watch. And I think I do boxing because it helps me with stress.
Yeah.
If I go like if I like how am I get like, you know, especially with like the business side of things, there's a lot of things that's going on behind the scenes. For me, creating content is easy.
Sure.
But business, I'm so new to business that I need to learn all these little things. And I get like so like, oh my God, like what is all of this? So I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna go box right now. And
Sure.
or I'm gonna go spar. I want to get hit in the face. I want to get hit. So like put me back to like earth. Or sometimes I get tattooed.
Oh, really?
So, yeah.
Okay.
So that's just helped me more like not think about the stress that I have, because like it's very painful. Like getting tattooed and getting hit in the face is painful.
Sure.
So that's what if I spar someone, like that's what I think. It's like, oh my God, like I don't want to get hit. If I get hit, cool. If I don't get hit, cool. So, you know, like it just helps me really get back to where I want to be versus like being just stressed out all day. I think that's, yeah, I don't really have an outlet to stay creative. I'm gonna tell you now, man, I'm not like a creative person. Like I'm not really like very, very, very like creative where like, you know, like people like will say something, I want to do that, and they create it and like, oh my God, like that's for me, like, damn, like how did you do that? That's dope. Like for me, it's like I just want to do basic stuff, but it makes sense. And then understanding how the cameras work, how presets work, how color grading works. That's all that matters to me. And what is the things that I just want to like point out, like Bad Baker. So I go there, film this, just point that out, put my color grading in it, put it out. That's it, right? And it's not really too much of like like me trying to create like all this cool stuff. Like, and I think that's why, you know, I have a very, very like um high respect to those creatives that really creates content
Mm-hmm.
like like that. Because like those are the things that I can't do.
Interesting. I'm going to take this in a different direction because you mentioned Bad Bakers again. Is it tough going? Because it seems like you're there quite a bit. Is it tough going there all the time and not just going to town on those donuts? It's got to be brutal.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's not just a donut, so it's like the bread,
That yeah.
the
What's
Spanish
the name?
roll.
The Spanish roll. Oh, it's
Oh
everything
my
there.
God, like those are dangerous. Like I would, before I go there, I would like just eat first. So when I go there, I don't need to eat all of those, right? They have really good food. Like they have, you know, the donuts for sure. The bread is very addicting, and they'll have those um bread with like ham and cheese inside, the jalapeno, and
Yeah.
the hot dog and cheese. Oh my God, like those are dangerous. Like I go there before they even make those. So I don't need to eat them. Like I don't need to like pick one, and eat, you know.
I'm telling you,
But
dude, it's a dangerous place to go. I took my daughter there a little while ago, and she's only 2.5. But we walked in, and I knew exactly which donut she was going to go for. So I said, "Hey, which donut do you want?" And she pointed to that. I think it's called like the unicorn donut. It's got like
yes, the
just
unicorn
completely
cloud.
covered in sprinkles. Like most donuts that have sprinkles, it's like there's some sprinkles on top. This one you can't see the frosting on top of the donut because it's all sprinkles. And she went to town on that donut. So yeah, we don't go there often because of that reason. Too much sugar for us, and it's like you said, it's a dangerous place, but we love it. It's delicious.
Yeah, you go there like, you know, for certain occasions. That's also one of the reasons why I need to hire like people to go there, so I don't need to be there all the time. You know? Like, cause I'll be like, man, I'm gonna go ham on this bread. Like,
Yeah,
and yeah, I go there if I want to go visit like, you know, some friends, or like if I want to. So if I go to Bad Bakers, I'll basically pick up like donuts, and then I go to like a different business and give
yeah,
them that donuts. I don't really like take it for me. I give it to them. It's like, you know, like I want to share the things I have that, you know, that are like the businesses that I'm partnered, that, you know, giving me that opportunity to like, you know, hey, you can always get like a box of donuts. Like I don't want to take that home and eat all of that. I'm gonna give it away to like the people that I know that, you know, would appreciate it, and at
yeah,
least they get to try it, and then now they get addicted to going.
yeah, for sure.
And
No, that's
sometimes too, like I like go to the gym and bring those things. So like, cause you know, like a lot of my friends, like they're like working out and stuff. Like I'm gonna like sabotage their workout. So I'm just gonna bring donuts. Like, oh shit. Like, yeah,
here
that's
he
what I
comes.
just do that for fun.
Yeah, that's good. That's a good mental, like a mental test for your buddies, right? It's like they're at the gym working out, and then they see that Bad Baker's box like roll past the window. It's like, oh no, Veer's here. Give me
Yeah.
the donuts again, and they
I
gotta
just
stay
leave it
strong.
there.
Yeah, yeah. No, that's awesome, man. And well, that's such a smart thing too. Like you get to give the donuts away, which is an awesome thing. It helps people in the community, and it's like a safeguard for yourself. Like, okay, I can't eat these donuts because I'm supposed to give these away. So you're doing a good thing. You're protecting your body and not going nuts on these donuts. That's smart, man. I should do that more. I should probably give more sweet stuff away because I have a sweet tooth. Both my wife and I do, and so anytime cookies, donuts, muffin. I mean, it's a problem, and we don't live too far from a Bad Baker's, so
Which
it's
where do you live?
kind of about like the Roseville area.
Okay, if you go, let me know if you're going to the Roseville. We'll give you guys something.
Hey, I'm telling you, man, I'm trying to stay away, and now I have like this invitation. Now he's tempting me to come to Bad Baker's. All right,
I would say if you are going to visit people or like family or friends, if you want to bring something, you know, donuts is like I would say safest. I mean, alcohol
sure,
and or donuts helps a lot. So
yeah, yeah,
I
maybe
always
both
stop by
together.
there. What's
Yeah,
that?
maybe both together. You know,
Oh yeah,
depending depending on the party you're going to.
yep.
That's awesome, man. So let me ask you this. You know, because and maybe this is just how I perceive it. Maybe it's just because of social media. Please correct me if I'm wrong, but the way I've heard people talk about you, the way I see your presence on social media, you are really well connected to the city. You're really well connected to different people that are doing different things, different businesses. When you're posting or when you're creating content, when you're doing these different things, like, do you feel like that responsibility to represent Sacramento a certain way? Do you feel the responsibility to, I guess, be an example for other entrepreneurs, other creatives? Like, do you feel that responsibility, or is that something that you just kind of do your thing, and if people follow, great, and if not, so be it?
To be completely honest with you, I don't have any. I love Sacramento. Sacramento's always been home ever since I moved here from the Philippines. Um, like what I said earlier, I traveled back in, I would say like 5, 6 years ago. I would travel a lot, and every time I come back here, it's just like, man, like I'm back. Like it feels good to be back, right?
Yeah.
I never really have a responsibility to like, oh, Sacramento. Like I'm not like that guy where like, oh, Sacramento all day.
Hey, he's back.
Sorry, one of my friends just called me. I was like, which one should I pick?
Yeah.
I picked the wrong answer. I was supposed to like cancel him.
Hey, all good, man. No, you're not the first person that's happened to. So it's all good.
All right. Yeah. So basically, man, I'm not really like, oh, Sacramento all day.
Yeah.
But if I go to places like even like not like, let's say if I travel, I always hype up Sacramento.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have to necessarily like post about it, which is like I should be posting more. I think I stopped doing more of that because of like the COVID. Like you can't really go anywhere, like it was pretty like that, like, last year was pretty weird. Like you can't really do anything. So like for me, like, I don't know, I kind of stopped posting anything about Sacramento.
Sure.
And now that's like, we're getting back into it. I'm actually, like based on like my business, one of the things that I'm going to start doing is me partnering up with like, I have 2 dogs right here, right?
Yeah.
Both of them are rescues. So
awesome.
I'm partnering up with like, animal shelters. And
Mm-hmm.
I love, like, even if I get to donate, my time to like create videos or do some photos or maybe do an event,
Mm-hmm.
I would do that. So that's what I've been working on right now. So to do that, to where like I want to bring a different energy when it comes to like Sacramento. I want to put out more of those organizations and like doing the events, right? I feel like there's a lot of Sacramento's built by creative people, right?
Yeah, sure.
Everything that's going on in Sacramento is because there's a lot of creative people here that are, creating different things, like whether it's like activations, events, like block parties, like you can name all that. Like people do that here. And I would say I want to bring what I do specifically to, I would say, like I want to support like anti-bullying. I want to support like the animal shelters and stuff like that. I want to focus on that. I want to bring more of that in town than like the events.
Sure.
And also helping out, like our basically Black Tape is based on, local businesses in Sacramento. So visiting small businesses or family-owned businesses or any type of local business in Sacramento, just, create content for free, just so, I can post that on my business, and also they can have their like a content, and maybe in the future, they want to hire us to help them with like their business. So that's where I'm at right now. It's like I want to give back to, like, number 1 is like the animal shelters, number 2 is like nonprofit organizations, and then number 3 is like like local businesses in town. And I want to put out Sacramento on that aspect of like, we have really cool small or local businesses in town, that people should go and like support.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I completely agree. I think there's a lot of amazing people doing amazing things here in the city and in the surrounding areas too, that I think they were just looking for the moment to be highlighted, or the opportunity to be highlighted. And I think if someone like yourself comes along and helps them put out just a really quality piece of content and promotion, that'd be huge for them. So I think that's amazing. I did want to ask, so, and I don't want to keep you too long, so we'll wrap this up here in a little bit, but your companies, so Black Tape Company and Iron Bunny, you explained a little bit about what Black Tape Company is, but what does the name mean? I'm always curious about the name. Actually, what's the name mean for both Black Tape Company and Iron Bunny?
I want to start with Iron Bunny because Iron Bunny is like my first baby.
Okay.
I was really, when I started working out, I kind of like, got into where like, man, like this is really cool, like I get to meet like fitness people, blah, blah, blah. And I grew up in the Philippines, I moved here when I was like 19 or 20.
Mm-hmm.
And I understand like, there's no, like for me, like there's no company that really give back to like the youth in our country.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, I want to create something where I can give back to, little kids. So basically Iron Bunny, we have partners in the Philippines, like, gyms, and we do like, before COVID, we start doing after school programs where we help little kids go and like learn fitness and martial arts, right? That's
Awesome.
basically what I wanted to do. I have photos of it, like, like us, like, the kids going to tournaments and like them learning. It was super cool, right? I was like, that's like, I was motivated to do that. Like, that's what Iron Bunny is all about. It's helping, the next generation pretty much. And the name came from, for some reason, I was just like, this is funny because like, I was like thinking of like name, and then I'm like, iron, pumping iron, right?
Yeah.
And then a bunny. A bunny is basically, if you go to Urban Dictionary, it's basically a sexually active person. And I'm like, I can make that cool by putting the iron in it. So if I put Iron Bunny, put it together, it's basically like a physically active person.
Yeah.
Versus, so that's where the name came from, is physically active person. That's why it's called Iron Bunny. And Black Tape, I forget, like, those tapes where like you type in like letters and
Yeah.
you attach that to like, the things that you own.
Yeah,
right?
for sure. Mm-hmm.
That's what Black Tape, that's where the Black Tape came from. It's like,
Interesting.
you want to own, like, you put that because you own that thing.
Yeah.
Right. So for me, I put Black Tape as like a way to basically, for every piece of content that we create, we own that.
Yeah.
Right. We may have partnership with the clients that we have, but still we own part of that. We created that. We did all of that from the beginning to the final piece. So that's kind of like where Black Tape came from. It's not really the tape, but it's like that thing, you put like the letters and you stamp that. It's like, that's my pencil case. That's my, that's pretty big.
Right.
Before. Oh, yeah, I remember that. So
Yeah.
it's kind of where it came from. And then I basically, I run into that thing. Sorry, I forgot the name of the guy, but the guy actually, he's like he was talking about like mental health, right?
Okay. Yeah.
And putting Black Tape as like, you put like what you want to be in the future, right? And these other kids are like mentally challenged, and they put like they want what they want to be in the future, and they put that on like in their belongings, right? Like,
Sure.
for example, like the kids like, I want to be a science teacher, so put their science teacher, and he put that on his notebook. Or like, I was like, man, that's super cool idea, right? The name Black Tape, was like, I wanted to be a pretty much like supposed to be like a clothing brand. And during the COVID, I kind of like used the name because it kind of like Black Tape, like, man, like like what I explained earlier, like every piece of the content I own, pretty much all of it, right?
Sure.
And I want to like, as a creative, or as like a photographer, videographer, we don't have that much of the respect when it comes to like our industry, because one, everyone can have cameras, everyone can take photos, everyone can, take videos. So sometimes, like, a lot of people charge less, like, like a lot of people like, dude, how come you charge that much? Like, I don't know, I just charge this much because of my experience, right? And also I don't want to make things to where like it's cheap and like, like people don't get, if I charge less, a lot of people don't respect, or they don't like appreciate what I do, right? But
Right.
if I charge
Yep.
more, like those people that are paying for that is paying for my value, my time, and like they appreciate what I do.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah. And that's the reason why I charge more than like a lot of creatives in here. It's because of that thinking, right? And also too, like I started Black Day because I really want to put creatives to where people that wants to work with us respect us, right? And I want to, like, basically for every content that I create, that's me, that's my company, that's Black Day. And there's a stamp to it. And then now I started Black Day actually last year, but I've been doing social media marketing, social media management for like the last 5-7 years.
Okay.
I just like, my thinking was, if because of COVID, it kind of like brought me back to where like, dude, like I don't have anything. I don't own anything. Like I create content, but that's Vir through a client. And that's pretty much that. Like I want to own a business to where like, one, we own part of the content, which is a partnership. Second is like, I want to have like certain respect when it comes to business. So I have to learn business side. And third is like, basically, I want to have a business where it's accessible to business owners, right? So when it comes to like videos or like creating content for social media, because social media is pretty big, like people need it. There's still a lot of businesses that don't have social media, they are still struggling with social media. So I want to create this company to where like, if you're a business owner and you're struggling with creating content, like we're the company for you, right? Like I always look at like I always envision Black Day was like, have you seen those like vans, like plumbers, like those people that install internet and all the like, like those are professional services.
Sure.
Right? Those are the things that I see as professional services. For me, I don't see, like, based on like what I like, just me, photography and videography, the reason why we're called professional is because we're getting paid to do it. That's just the difference. So I'm like, I want to have like professional service where like when they see a van, those are the guys. Like if you see like AT&T pass by, those guys, they install internet.
Right.
If you see a plumber, they do this. If you see like construction, they do that, right? If they see Black Day, like maybe a van or something, like those guys make videos and those guys create content for social media. Like I want to be like that. Like that's how I envision Black Days, like on that level of the playing field as far as like professional services, right? Because like I always say, like, what we do as like photographers, videographers is different than like those people. But I appreciate hard work. I appreciate people that really do things by hand. And that's the reason why, like, construction workers get paid more because like they do things and they build things.
Right.
So that's what Black Day is all about. It's like building like assets in the digital or like, in the internet, like field. Yeah. So that's how I see Black Days. Like, dude, like I want to be that company where one day we will be level with like, not like, locally like AT&T services, like, like people that really have like professional like service.
Yeah, no, for sure. I love that. I think that's a great mindset to have. And I completely understand what you're saying. When they think, when they see black tape, they don't have to think, oh, what is, because like when you see AT&T, like you said, we don't think, oh, what is AT&T again? We know, right? Because it's such a massive brand and it's associated with phones and internet. And so yeah, I completely get that. For your guys' brand of black tape, when someone sees black tape, you want them to automatically think, rather than think like, hey, I wonder what black tape is. You just want them to think automatically, oh, that's social media, that's branding, that's marketing, that's what they do. And yeah, I love that, man. I think that's great. And I just love following what you guys do on all of that stuff.
Thank you.
Black tape, Iron Bunny. I'm not gonna lie, dude. Now that I know the meaning behind the name Iron Bunny, I didn't realize that when you look it up, bunny up on Urban Dictionary, there's like a sexual connotation to it. It's gonna change how I view it. I'm gonna just like smile every time I see it. Like that's hilarious. I had
Yeah.
no clue. I had no clue that's where that name came from. It has a different meaning to me now. That's awesome. I love the logo too, man. I love the Iron Bunny logo.
Thank you.
And you guys have some just really, really dope products. I went there when I first discovered that brand. I looked at your website and saw the stuff that you had. It was just really cool. And then same with black tape. Like I said, I'm just a fan of creative stuff, man. I'm a fan of people who put the time and effort into, whatever their brand is and their marketing, because like you said, it is super important. And you mentioned this earlier, that there are some businesses out there that still struggle with that. They still struggle with how to get their message across on social media, and they still struggle with how to promote their brand. I mean, even for us, we've done this podcast for almost a year now. We've done our other podcast we did that for 2 years. So we've been doing podcasts for a while. And even for us, who we feel like we have an understanding of social media, it's still challenging to get your brand and your message out there. And so I imagine for someone who doesn't have any concept or any idea of how to do that, that would be a massive struggle. So I'm sure seeing black tape come through and say, hey, we can help you with this piece that has been frustrating you, would be like a massive stress reliever for them. You know what I mean? Or a massive, like, it would just take this huge piece off their plate that has been so challenging for them. So I think that's great.
Yes. Yeah. Basically, although, man, like I've learned that through experience, right? I work with a lot of business owners that struggling with social media, people that like really make a lot of money, but like I don't want to be in social media, bro. Like I need someone like, all right, that's where I come in, right? Like
Sure.
there are a lot of people out there that they don't want to be in social media and they want to pay someone to handle it like professionally, effectively, and also like there's some kind of like ownership to it, to where like when we create content based on like what the business, because like I don't make content based on what I think would look good for them.
Mm-hmm.
I make content based on what the owner of the business thinks what should be the business looks like, right? If this person I want the business to be this and this and this and this, we asked them like, basically I asked them like personal, like, how do you want your company to be perceived in social media, or what are the things that help you sell products? What are the things that made you successful from here to here without doing social media? I get all those information, like, and I sit down, like, man, like it gets easier to understand a business from the business owner's perspective versus me trying to figure out the business, right?
Right.
And also too, I would just say this because there's a lot of business owners out there that they're putting too much time on social media.
Mm-hmm.
And I know this because I work with a lot of this type of people. They put so much emphasis on social media that they forget about their business, right? As a business owner, you should focus on what your business is all about, not what your business is all about in social media, right? Because like people, they forget about their business because they want to look good on social media. Like the reason why you're not making sales or not making anything is like, maybe one, your customer service sucks. Second, your product sucks. Third, you just don't have like that brand voice that people get to relate to, because you're too focused on like, you want to look cool on social media, you want to be doing this, you want to do that. Like, no, your business as a local business should focus on those specific things. And like for me, like the way I see it is like, imagine those businesses that's like multi-million dollars or $1 billion, right? That was built without social media, right?
Yeah.
So now, because of social media, a lot of business owners like, I want to do this, like, I want to look good. Like, dude, you're gonna look good if your social media or if your business is getting taken care of, like how the business should be. Like I would say, like one of the things that like Mikunis, right?
Yeah.
They're great because their customer service is great, their food is consistent, and the owner or like the business itself emphasize community.
Right.
They don't need to like flex on social media. They don't need to do all this stuff. Like they just focus on main things and social media just follows.
Yeah.
And what we do is basically follow your lead and create the things that make sense for the business owner and what makes sense for business to like basically improve or grow in social media, right? So yeah, I would like, that's all I have to say for like business owners, like to focus on your business, because like that's the reason why a lot of business owners or business are not doing well, because they always think social media is the first thing that you should do to make sales.
I love that. You just dropped the mic right there. That was great, man. I think
Thank
that's
you.
gonna, that's gonna, I think that's gonna help a ton of people that maybe are struggling at that, with that very idea. So, I think we're gonna stop right there, except for the last question I do have for you. It's the same question we ask for everybody, and I'm really interested to hear what you have to say. We call it the connection suggestion, and it could be one person, brand, organization, restaurant, whatever it could be. It could be local. It doesn't have to be, but give us one suggestion of someone that we should be following and who our audience should be aware of.
One of the guy I would say is very interesting is Trevor Fong. I don't know if you already have him.
No. I know I'm familiar with the name. I know he's a guy that I feel like he could be the mayor of Sacramento if he wanted to. Like I feel like he's that well connected, but I don't know him personally.
So I give you like Trevor Fong is great. I mean, my guy Zane is great too. Putting Sacramento on a different level. Bad Bakers for sure, because those guys, man, like we just opened 3 new locations in like 2 months back to back.
Yeah.
And there's 2 more coming. So these guys are very like they work hard, they're smart at what they do. And I would say if you get to connect, I'll connect you to the owners and get them into your podcast. But yeah, those are 3 people that I would say I should try to connect in your I can drop like a bunch of names because I know a lot of people that really needs, that puts a lot of effort on what they do and helping the community too. But I will stop with that 3 right now.
Those 3 right now. I know, man. That's almost like for someone like you who is well connected. I almost feel like I'm asking you to pick your favorite child. You know what I mean? That's kind of what it feels like. So, but those are awesome. I'm familiar with all 3 of those names. But like I said, I don't know them personally. So, yeah, we would love to connect with them at some point. That'd be great.
Yes, I'm pretty sure you'll connect with them.
Awesome, man. Well, hey, dude, this has been a ton of fun. I appreciate you just sharing some of your insight and your experience with us, because like I said, I think we have people that listen to this podcast that are in that same world that you're in, the creative space and trying to create content. And so I feel like a lot of the stuff that you shared is going to really help them. So that being said, if they want to continue to follow what you do, where can they follow you? Where can they follow you, Black Tape, Iron Bunny, all those things?
I would say please follow Iron Bunny. No, please follow Black Tape Company at Black Tape Company. I want to focus on that business because one, it's growing, and also it pays all my bills.
Yeah.
And second, it's gonna help a lot in the community.
Yeah.
Also, Black Tape, man. Based on my experience, I want to stay away from the business. I don't want to be Black Tape, right? I want to be just Vir. I want Black Tape to be its own thing to where like people get to respect, because not because of me, because of the people that's in Black Tape.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I would like not just in the people there and the people that we get the people that we get to partner with, whether it's like an nonprofit or like a business or a local business or individual that we partner. That's Black Tape's all about. Black Tape is not. It has nothing to do with me. It has more to do with the people and the community that we're building.
I love it. That's awesome, man. Perfect. Well, hey, man, I appreciate your time. Thank you so much for hanging out for a little bit tonight. And you guys can follow us at Connectable Podcast on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Connectable Pod on Twitter. And obviously you can listen to this anywhere you get your podcasts. So Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, wherever it may be. Make sure you check it out, follow us. And man, Vir, once again, man, appreciate it. Appreciate what you're doing for the community. And we will talk to you later.
Thank you, sir.
Awesome, man. Thank you so much. Thanks for watching the show. If you enjoyed that episode, make sure you like it, share it, and hit the subscribe button to get a new episode every week. We'll see you next time on the Connectable Podcast.